Welcome to the Brickworks Podcast, an extension of the studio based here in Burnham-on-sea. Our aim for this podcast is to have a completely open forum for conversation. This could be about art, life, mental health, or even how the world is burning down around us right now. Whether you're listening to this whilst on a run or relaxing at home, we hope you enjoy our mild-mannered rambles. Thank you. Have you seen the movie Cars, actually? So you know that in the movie Cars there's a scene where he's like, I am speed, and he like talks to himself like that. No. I literally sometimes when I'm filming promos, before I do them, I do that. I'm like, I am me.
It's like mindfulness.
Yeah, I suppose it's like a meditative state.
Yeah, I do that. I go, you've got this, Sophie, I love you. It sounds really cringe, but it does work.
Honestly, it definitely gets you going. Like, it gets like, I think it gets like your mind in a good place, you know what I mean? Like talking to yourself like that. Yeah. So what's going on with you, Sophie? You're almost finished at uni now and everything, like almost in the big wide world.
Yeah, in my third year now, so graduating, hopefully this summer.
I love how you added the word hopefully in there.
Yeah, well, we don't know. Don't know if it's going to happen, but hopefully we get like a physical graduation in the summer. So yeah.
How have you? So you've been obviously remote learning, I'm guessing. Have you been doing remote learning?
Yeah, remote learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's worked out quite well because I quite like not being in lesson. Yeah. So I like sort of remote learning, but it's worked well. Yeah.
That must be quite strange though, doing a visual course, doing it remotely. Because I don't know about you, but like for me, I used to love like sitting around the table with prints and stuff like that. Like when we'd do like a group session, like everybody show their prints or books or whatever they're sort of working on.
That is the only thing that like I've missed, I think, because it is that group. I mean, I do miss socialising, but at the same time I've definitely got used to like my own little space, my own cave, but like I don't know.
I'm guessing it's probably a bit of a weird one though, because like you for yourself, you did learning before COVID, so you were in your like BA before COVID came around, so you've sort of had both sides of it.
Had a little bit of time to socialise, and then like without COVID, but then but I don't know. I think it is hard because I don't know. I do always think of talking like with Millie and stuff at my house. I'm like, oh, like only if we were like able to enjoy like the final year, because to be fair, the second year was absolutely shit. Like it's just we just lost second year, but I think, I mean, it's worked out, it's fine. You gotta just go with things. But
yeah, I suppose it's sort of going with the flow in some ways. Like you kind of just have to deal with what comes.
Yeah, I mean, the first year I found really like overwhelming and really stressful. But after that, I sort of knew how things worked. I got into it, and although second year, like in the world of COVID, it was shit. But like in uni, I felt like I knew what I was doing. Like I had it. I knew how to do a reflector journal.
Yeah.
Cool. I was getting projects done.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that aspect of it, but like, but no.
Sort of found your rhythm, I suppose.
Yeah, and then third year, I'm like, but in first year, I was like, what the hell am I going to be doing? Like, I still don't know where I'm at, like with my professional practice, and I was like, what? But then third year, now I'm here, I'm like, yeah, I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm here. I've got this. I've got it.
You're having that
Finally,
internal dialogue.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
But,
having that little internal speech with yourself.
Yeah. It is crazy how you grow. 'Cause in first year I thought I had to have a bit like figured out, but you don't.
No, I think third year is very experimental in some ways. So you're ed and ad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed and ad.
So editorial and advertising, because some people listening or watching that's a very in UOG thing to say, ed and ad.
Yeah. Editorial and advertising. But they have changed it now. I think it's called...
Oh, here we go. I bet it's something... Yeah.
Professional... I think... Oh, God, maybe I've got it wrong. But I think it's called something like professional practice for the creative industry or something like that.
Why change it to
like,
that? That
really
is so long.
But I apologise, I might be completely wrong. But like when they would think about changing the name, I was like, that's so long. But okay, fair enough.
That's such a long name. Whereas ed and ad, well, editorial and advertising, it sounds better.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, that's the course I'm on still, but that's what I think mentally, because I'm graduating with the editorial and advertising.
That's what it will say on the piece of paper as such. Otherwise, it will say some long-ass thing. Creative practice, professional start, something like that.
Yeah, it's quite long.
So I wanted to actually have a chat about Tough Guys. Is that Tough Guys? I think it's Tough Guy, isn't it?
Super tough.
Thank you very much.
Tough.
Yes. I've done my research. No. Because I was looking at the work when you first started making it, and it's a really interesting project. And I mean that in the context of, please, anyone listening to this as well, and yourself as well, don't take this out of context, but for sort of a woman to make a project about men's mental health, there's a very interesting sort of conversation happening in that. And so I wanted to sort of pick your brain a little about that project and like where it came from, like the idea for it sort of started.
Well, basically, I've always been interested in like mental health and like the mind, and like I think Super Tough for me was like a project that was like the first sort of thing, like a project that I could work on that was about like mental health, but also getting really personal with people's stories, and like concentrating on portraits, because that's what I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed portraits and just getting to know the people and just going a bit deep with it. So that was why I wanted to sort of start that. But it was really interesting because I got to meet like loads of different people. I mean, not loads, but like hopefully I'm going to carry on. But
cool.
I'll be meeting loads of people. But I think it was really good to meet like everyone, because they were all different. And
well, I suppose the stories, like, I'm guessing they shared a lot of like the intimacies of how they feel about sort of, because the project's kind of like about toxic masculinity, isn't it? That's kind of the not overbearing, but the overbridge of the project as such. So was the idea to like sort of develop their emotions with toxic masculinity?
It was to just sort of almost just make it more aware of like it's actually a thing, like, because I think there's lots of people that I've known, friends, or like been in relationships with, and it's like they've just been so closed off, and it's like you don't have to be like that. And I know I can't always like fix everyone, but like it was interesting for me to sort of hear about where that sort of came from for them, like where that toxic masculinity first started. And I think it was always like they've always said it's just how they've grown up and how they've sort of like been subject to things and certain ways. And
yeah, I think it's like, so for me, like looking at it from, you know, being a young man, so very much in the demographic of kind of what you're documenting in that project, or still documenting, apologies.
yeah.
I very much like looking at the work. It kind of started to make me question my relationship with like my masculinity and how I look at myself as a male in the world as such. And it was very interesting reading the little sort of captions and the stories that went along with these really fantastic portraits that you created, because they definitely changed my vision of how I looked at it. Was that kind of the goal for making this series?
Yeah, I think that was the goal, because it was just anything I do in my work is just to sort of like make that difference and just get people to start thinking a little bit more about, okay, yeah, that's a real thing, and or like just making things more aware of, people more aware of things, and that's good.
But I think that's the thing, is like, because it's such a big subject matter as well, like with regards to, you know, diving into the world of toxic masculinity. It's quite
it's deep, and like when I first like proposed the project, like I can't remember who it was, but like one of my tutors, I think they were like a bit like, yeah, that's quite a deep project, and you've got to be careful with how you go about it, because there's some people that are going to be like, it's not a thing, like that's played of whatever. But I was like, well, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I enjoyed it. Everyone else that was included in it enjoyed it, I think, and it was just
So is the plan to like carry it on, like to keep producing?
I think it would be really
for
good.
it?
Like I would really like to carry it on and develop it and make it into a physical book, because at the minute it's a digital book. And that's only because of COVID. But hopefully if I can get the resources, I mean, that would be amazing. That would be really cool if I could make it into a book. Like a physical book. That would be,
having that like tangible thing that you can hold on to. I think there's always such a but there's always this really interesting correlation between like photographers and their work being physically printed. Have you ever sort of felt, I've had conversations like this in the past, I think with somebody who came on the podcast a little while ago, Ryan. That's a bold move, putting the glass on the phone. Literally, a friend of mine did that the other day, and it just spilled everywhere. I
shouldn't be trusted with glass of water, so it's absolutely
We'll get you a bowl next time, a plastic bowl. But we were sort of talking about how when you start to physically print your work, your appreciation for it becomes like, much more involved in a way.
Yeah, I think it's really nice if you can print some of your own images out, and I don't do it enough. But I can definitely appreciate like a print. It's a different feel, because when you're looking at it on a phone or on a laptop, it's different, but when you print it out, it is a completely different feel, and I do like that.
I think it changes its value.
Yeah.
Like the value of that image suddenly becomes more or more intertwined anyways.
I think it becomes more, and you think, oh, like, I special, want to keep it, don't want to go with it.
No, I totally get what you mean. And it's really interesting because, like, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you would print all of your images out, you would go to like the little kiosks in Boots and supermarkets and
put doing that. Wow, why am I so old now?
You're not old. But it's really interesting because we used to do that. We used to print all of our images and turn them into like physical photo albums. Whereas it's all digital based now, and it's, I don't know.
Do you know what I was just speaking about? I'm just thinking, you need to print your images out, Sophie. You need to do it. Because it's just like, I don't have I don't really have a printed portfolio from all the work I've done recently.
Mm.
It's all digital, and to be honest, I think it would be really nice to like have some of that printed, especially like Super Tough.
Yeah, I could see that as such a cool book, or like a little series. You could do like a little series of sort of zines of it, you know, and dive into people. Sorry, I'm taking apologies. No, I'm like diving into a project. It's just such a.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the term life? Is it life term project? Or well, no. In documentary photography, there's this idea where you have like a year-long project, a 5-year project, and then a lifetime project. So the idea being is there's a project that you know work on for the rest of your life. Some photographers do that, not everyone does. But I feel like something like, you know, Tough Guys. Super Tough. Why do I keep getting Tough Guys?
Because they think they're tough.
They think they're hard.
Being made to think, oh yeah, got to be strong, tough. But actually, you can show some emotion. It's all good.
Boys do cry.
Exactly.
Trust me, I do it enough. But I think like that project printed just would look so interesting, and you could really like dive into each person. Like you could really dive into their sort of stories, and I don't know, but so
a little bit, make it a bit longer, and
definitely. Like going back to that idea of like 5-year project, you know, like that, I could see this being a long-term body of work over a couple of years. I think I definitely would like. I'm not going to put any pressure on it, but like, because I think if I put pressure on it, I won't do it. But I'm sure like there'll be something that comes along, and I'm like, I want to shoot you, or like there's an opportunity, and I'm like, I need to do it. Portraiture seems quite sort of prevalent in your work as well. Is that always been there? Like, have you always been interested in portraiture?
Yeah, I think from college, that's when I started like really getting into photography and art. I mean, I did a first-year course, art and design, and then after that I went on to do photography. But I wanted to do photography originally, but I didn't have enough like grades to properly like go onto photography like straight from school. In college, but so I just had to do this art and design course to get onto for like the 2-year photography course, and then
onto uni.
But like it was, art and design was the best course I did to start me off, because when I started my photography, it was like, I like portraits, but I also want to add in this other element of like mixed media and using different materials, and just a different, like giving that photograph a different sort of aesthetic like feel to it. And like even in the book with Super Tough, like that came in with it, because I was like, I want to add that extra element, because I don't know, it really interests me, like using other processes, and making GIFs was really fun. Definitely got into like making GIFs.
Start busting out the memes soon as well. Like. No, that's really interesting, because I think like, well, before we sat down to do this podcast, we were talking about, you know, not necessarily branding yourself as a photographer, and I always feel really weird about the idea of branding an artist, like, you know, branding yourself as I am this or I am that. And I had a conversation with a guy called Douglas Carson, who runs Keep Art It, which is this big this new movement in Bristol. But anyways, in this conversation, we were talking about how you kind of have to tailor that. You have to tailor who you are as an artist to the person you're talking to. And it's really interesting, because naturally as artists, we're multifaceted. Like, we look at all forms of art, whether it's, you know,
most of the time I'd say
like,
but I know there's some people that are really set on like their specialization, and you know, they've got, and that's cool, that's them, they do it really well. But I think most people that I've met, and like especially myself, like we're just interested in lots of different elements, and that's what makes us creative.
And especially when you sort of get introduced to them very early on as well, like by the sounds of things, when you're doing art and design, you're introduced to like new methodology and ways of like different processes, which then feeds into your sort of main discipline now.
Yeah, like cyanotypes, and I did that a lot of like I think they're called cyanotypes.
Yeah, I think cyanotypes or cyanotypes.
Cyanotypes.
Stick with cyanotypes. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I did that a lot in college. And I really enjoyed it because we had like the little like dark room and stuff.
Cool.
That was really fun. And again, it's that like having that physical thing. And I thought it was so cool that I could make something with like UV light. I was like, whoa. Yeah, I love it. But yeah.
So are you quite? I get the feeling that you're quite a practical artist, like you're very hands-on with your sort of processes.
Yeah, I'd say I'm very practical. Like that is what I enjoy doing, I think. And I think that is why I like to add in like maybe I was going off on a tangent, but
we love a good tangent.
I just think
go down that rabbit hole, Sophie.
Even when I'm on like a laptop and editing, I always want to like use like the paint tool and stuff and just go over the image and make it like.
That's so cool though, because like I think it's so easy in photography to fall into the digital spectrum just constantly. Like obviously 90% of the cameras are digital that people use. It's all processed on Photoshop and then it's exported digitally, so you never really physically are involved. The only physical involvement is pressing the shutter release, and so I totally agree, because I've started to really get back into doing different processes like cyanotypes and daguerreotypes and stuff like that, and it's like there's this not weird, probably the wrong terminology, good feeling, thank you. This good feeling of like using my hands again to make artwork, like, and to make pieces, because like when I look at the work that I make anyways, I don't know if yourself does, I look at each piece, like I call them pieces of art, like it's not just a photograph, it's a piece of art, because I've put a piece of me into this artwork, so there's something very passionate about using your hands and that being connected to. I just punched the microphone. I do this literally every podcast because I'm such a hand speaker. And apologies to everyone listening. I just punched the mic, nailed it. There's something very rewarding about using your hands and using processes that involve like connecting your brain to your hands.
And I think it actually comes back to like psychology of it, and like it is a mindful thing, and like it does make you feel better, and I think that's overall why like we probably like it. Because it just being practical and just being involved with it. It is a mindful thing, and like it does make you feel better. I know it does make you feel better, because I mean it was proof that it made me feel better, because I was in like a really dark space in summer. I mean it was quite hard for everyone in the world of COVID, but I think what helped me get out of that was just having a passion again, and just finding that like something creative. It just helped me just get up every day. Give you that sort of drive, I suppose, to make. Which is, I think, as creatives, we all got into this for our own sort of personal reasons, and a lot of that is for the meditative state, I think, in some capacity. Because I think like creating or putting, I use the word creating very liberally, as you can probably tell. I say creating a lot, but like just using your mind to make things, I think is so processing. It helps to process thoughts and like helps to process whether it's negativity or positivity. Like it completely changes that dynamic of the mind. I think like just thinking about the place I was in, I think yeah, it just got me, because obviously I was still thinking about loads of which I don't want to think about, but it just almost lifted just a little bit, so I could just breathe and like process a bit more and just maybe concentrate on, you know, something else for a little bit. And it was like the colours for me, the colours, like looking at colours, I was like, yeah. Yeah.
So is your work's quite colourful, apart from Super Tough? That's quite sort of, the portraitures on black backdrops is quite sort of moody lighting, to use lack of a better term, those portraits.
Of Super Tough.
Yeah, whereas some of your other work is sort of quite flamboyant and has quite a colour palette to it.
I know, I don't know how I feel about it. Because I don't know if it's like B-Tech colours or like it's okay, but yeah, I don't really like to retouch my photos too much because I like to try and keep the natural like colours of it. But like at the same time they do come out, they do come out like quite, I don't know.
I think there's almost a case of like maybe over-analysing one's work can actually take away the feeling of making it, if that makes sense. Like, I think we have a habit of that, especially when we try and take ourselves sort of our artwork and try to be professional with it, especially it starts to go into this new spectrum of over-analysation and
and I think you can so easily like over-analyse like what you do. So I think I just try and not think about it too much now, and I'm just like, if that makes me happy and I'm enjoying it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, that's such a vibe though. Like,
so yeah, that's what I've definitely learned through the whole 3 years of uni, but because they get you to like they get you to really think about it maybe a bit too much, but maybe that's the whole thing of it. You have to go through that to
maybe you do. Maybe
like,
you have to psychoanalyze it to like come out the other side and realise that you don't need to. I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, because I don't know, I just look at it in just normal general terms of like in life you have to go through really crap times to actually feel the really good times. You can't, I actually do believe in that. I think you can't have good times without
the bad
times.
Yeah,
because otherwise you won't be grateful for that. I do
it kind of gives a bit more of an appreciation, I suppose. Like, I think when you know, I've been very open with like my mental health and stuff in the past, and like when you go through sort of really bad bouts of depression, when you do have good times and make good memories, they become so rewarding and so much more, they're almost intensified in a way because you can just feel it much deeper. You just appreciate so much more. And I think it's so weird, like I was so happy yesterday, I was just walking my dog, it was sunny, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I don't know, I was like, I just felt really like over appreciative, because sometimes you can just take going for a walk with your dog for granted, and because I haven't been home like for a while, it was just nice to, I don't know, I just appreciated things a bit more, and I was like, this is luxury, like I've got a whole fridge, like a full fridge and a full freezer. This is absolute amazing. This is amazing. Do you read a lot about like mindfulness and meditation and stuff like that? Are you quite into that?
Got books.
Because the way you were talking about it then, like about the fridge being full and the appreciation and all that stuff, I was like, that is so mindfulness.
but it's weird because it's like it's just me. It's kind of, but obviously maybe that's just like from reading that book, or I don't know, but the books I read, like it has just ingrained in me, and it's like I do appreciate things like more than I would have in school or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think there's like, personally I do a lot of like meditation and stuff now because it just keeps me on a nice level plane rather than peaking and troughing in my own mental health.
What do you follow? Do you just like...
So I did the Calm app for a while. That app's quite good. That got me into like the rhythm of meditating and like being able to do it, I suppose, like the technique of it. But now I don't use anything. I just sit in silence by myself.
And I found that I prefer to do that because I think it's good to start with an app, but then it's like you can really over-analyse that again and overthink about it. And like I tried to do it a lot when COVID first happened, and I was like, I need to just breathe. And I was trying to do it every day because there was a guy called Jay Shetty, if I've got that right.
I recognise it from somewhere. Yeah.
I don't know if I've got that right, but yeah, he was doing like a mindfulness thing, meditation, like every day and throughout like the first lockdown, and I was trying to follow that, and it was really good, but at the same time I think it was too much pressure. But I think, like you said, I think it's nice. It's just like sitting there, breathing, just connecting back to...
I think it's taking a moment out of your day, isn't it? Like, I think, obviously I don't know what your lifestyle's like, but for me, my days can be non-stop sometimes and full on with, bullshit sometimes, to be brutally honest. So, I like to meditate in the evenings before I go to bed is normally when I try to do it.
Yeah.
And it just helps to calm and slow everything down and process the day, because I think we have such a habit when we get caught up in the rat race. I hate to use such a fucking comical term, but excuse my language, I swear all the time. But when we get caught up in it, we forget to take those moments to like breathe and appreciate ourselves.
So easily forget.
Yeah.
So easily forget. And
I think I literally speak about meditating until the cows come home these days, especially on podcasts. But I think it's so important, especially right now, because the world is so fucking confusing. Yeah. It's like being able to just like, just breathe.
Yeah, and it does make you feel better. Like it does. And sometimes it is hard to just sit there and just take bigger breaths, but like it's needed, and after you do it, like you feel so much better.
I couldn't agree more.
You
like
do?
Do you get the feeling of like weight coming off of you, like literally the feeling of weight coming off your shoulders? I that's the feeling that I get.
It is about relaxing your nervous system, and that is what I'm quite recently been quite interested in, like the gut and the mind, because it's very like linked together.
Yeah, they're interconnected.
And obviously we were talking earlier a bit like about like feeling sick and stuff when you feel really anxious, and like it just makes sense. Yeah. Like why when you link your gut and your mind, if you're feeling anxious, obviously you're going to feel sick.
Yeah. And I think there's a very close correlation between the mind and also the just the overall feeling of the body. That I don't know if yourself feels this as well, but when I'm under a lot of stress or I feel very anxious, my body naturally feels tense, like my legs feel tenser and all of these things. And I think that's because I do a lot of stretching and meditating and
that's so
exercising.
Good because you're becoming self-aware.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's literally that's what it is. You just need to become self-aware. God, I'm
so true.
Guru.
So true. But I think it's so true though. It's like, having self-awareness, well, we were saying this earlier, it's like self-awareness is so important because not only not only is it about you and how you feel and how your body feels, but you can, I don't know if you feel this as well, but because I'm very in tune with myself now, I can feel it in others. I can feel, not to go down the spiritual world, but like I can feel their energy, I can feel their vibe, I can feel if something doesn't feel right, I can feel, like I can physically feel that in me.
Yes, and it's like, I think I don't know if you need like an element of more empathy to be this sort of person, but maybe I think there is like research to find that just practicing mindfulness or even a bit of meditation, you can become more empathetic. You actually can. Not like I actually need any more empathy in my life, but sometimes I'm just like, I literally feel too much. I feel too many people's emotions. I need to stop. But yeah. Exactly.
I think it's one of those things though, isn't it? It's like, it's finding a balance in all of that, because as you were just saying, then it's like, arguably you might feel too much towards other people, and you actually need to shut off a little bit when you need to.
And that, I think that's another thing I have learned. I have learned that it's like, okay, there's an element of where you just need to just leave it, Sophie. Just leave it. Yeah. Do you for a bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's almost like self-preservation in a way. I think when you go through like a really bad bout with like mental illness and come out the other side, naturally you become much more empathetic towards your fellow human, I think, in most cases. I know that for me I did anyways, but you can almost go too far with it, and so you kind of have to learn self-preservation and learn to 100%. Pull back and learn that actually I need to be on my own right now and
literally.
work
and
on myself.
I think it's with friendships and other relationships, family relationships, I'm fine with that, but it's romantic ones, like I can't I can't do it.
Yeah.
I actually can't. I'm gonna be honest, I can't do it.
No.
I can't do relationships. No, I just feel like I feel too much, and if I feel too much, I can't. I need to.
There's almost like a barrier, like.
Yeah.
No. It's interesting you say that, because I want to say.
I don't know what it is.
I want to say that I'm the same in many respects. I think.
Yeah.
My neighbour's moving around again.
Hi.
Bless her. Remind me, I need to build a soundproof booth at some point. Anyways, I'm very much the same, because like as soon as I start to get close with anyone and actually like really start to feel a connection with somebody, there's this big red flag that goes up in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit.
You almost. Oh God, yeah. You almost like create red flags.
Yeah.
And you think.
Yeah.
What? Like, and then when you reflect on it, and I've reflected on it recently, and I'm like, Sophie, you were literally creating red flags for yourself.
Yeah.
There's no point worrying about it. Oh God.
The way I sort of phrase it is an exit strategy. Like, my mind is always looking for an exit strategy out of being comfortable. It sounds crazy, but like for me, I don't like the idea of being comfortable. I'd say this quite often on like Instagram and stuff, but like the idea of being comfortable to me scares me shitless.
Comfortable in a relationship or
in life in general, and especially relationships, because to me that opens up like avenues of like, you know, potential regret and potential,
or just like being, it's just vulnerable. It's being
vulnerable. Yeah, vulnerability, I suppose. Yeah. And I think I totally get what you mean about like self-sabotaging in a way by putting these red flags in one's own mind, because I immediately start to do that when I start to feel a connection with somebody, and it's like I then have to sit down and meditate and think in my head like everything's difficult. Fine, bro, like chill.
It isn't, and I know there's not everyone that's like that, but some people they just find it hard, and it will be like from past experiences, like why, but there's all, I mean, I could be a counsellor and be like, why is that? Why do you feel like that, Jacob?
You want to go down that road, Sophie? We might be here all day. Yeah.
There's always a reason.
There is always a reason. But I think, I don't know if yourself finds this, but a lot of what we were just talking about then, about like empathy and self-sabotage and all these things, I find myself asking those questions when I make artwork, whether it's through the artwork I make, or the artwork that I see. there's like a level of reflection in it, and I can see emotions through that. Do you whenever I speak about this, it can go one of two ways in a conversation. It goes one way, people...
No, I think that's really... I think it's interesting.
Yeah?
I do think that's cool. But
the other direction is people think I'm a psychopath, so I get it if you want to go there.
Nah, I've been with psychopaths, so that's just...
It's a
no,
vibe.
I'm joking. Well, I'm not, but you know.
No, I think like having an emotional connection to having like an emotional connection, like for me it's really important with regards to like creativity. Like a lot of the work,
Fully, like you need the connection. There's a meaning to everything you do and you create. Like, and that does make sense. Yeah.
Do you find that with your work that it's very sort of emotive, like you put a lot of emotions
100%.
into your work?
I don't know if this is the right word, but conceptual.
I think so.
Conceptual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bring out the dictionary from.
I think it's conceptual and contemporary. That's what I like to say.
Why is that a tagline? Conceptual and contemporary. You know where that tagline could go?
Pitch myself and my scenes.
That could go on your totes and tees, is it? Or tees and totes. Tees and totes.
Contemporary. Oh God, yeah. Contemporary and conceptual. I don't know. Maybe.
So what's going on with your new little venture that you're going down?
The tees and totes.
The tees and totes. Let's talk about the tees and totes.
The tees and totes. It's basically, yeah, okay, so rounded up, I started this in the first lockdown and just making and creating art. I was doing more like paintings and stuff like that, but then it didn't really go where I wanted it to go, and I didn't really make as much of a following as I wanted to from it. So sort of like recently started again and was like, because I always like the idea of like the t-shirts and just creating your own t-shirt. I mean, I did it in college, so I think that was probably where that came from.
Yeah.
And then another idea of like tote bags, and I just thought, you know, everyone wears a bag, everyone wears a t-shirt, why not like do something and in that? And so I sort of started again and decided to call it like tees and totes.
Such a vibe, that name.
You know,
T&T, like such a vibe.
Trying to make an Etsy page, and
nice.
It won't like, it doesn't like the name, so I don't know what I'm doing.
I'd call up Etsy, be like, yo.
I was pissed. I was emailing them. I was like, why are you accepting my name?
I can imagine your like very polite email.
I was a bit like, sorry, but why are you not accepting this? They're like, sorry, the name's taken. And I was like, well, that's just rude.
Fuck you, let me have the name.
I was like, that's just rude. So I'm making an Etsy page for it, but
okay.
I've got to think of another name for that. So I don't know.
Just have like TNT or something, like literally T and T.
Yeah, that's what my friend said, but TNT.
But then it kind of sounds like dynamite, so.
Oh, I don't know.
No, it's really cool, like interesting, because I say that all the time. I need to stop saying it's really interesting. Podcast cliches. Because I remember you were doing t-shirts. You did a little run of t-shirts, the Intuition t-shirt.
Well, yeah, the Intuition t-shirts. I really like that design, but I don't think everyone vibed with it.
I have to admit, can I just say one quick thing? Okay. I bought one of the t-shirts from yourself. It's a lovely t-shirt. I love it.
Yeah, go on.
The only thing with it is the amount of people that asked me was the back graphic. So there's a graphic on the back, isn't there? Whether it was a turkey.
Fucking joking.
No, seriously. Somebody stopped me on the street and they're like, why have you got a turkey that says Intuition on your back? And I had to I literally turned around and explained to her, I was like, oh, it's my friend, she makes t-shirts.
You actually, that is too funny. Oh.
It was quite funny, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God, I'm crying. That is hilarious.
So,
oh, bless. Well, it's not a turkey. It's an intuition eye, but obviously they're not spiritual enough, so I'm joking.
Well, we are in Burnham now.
Oh, that's really funny.
That's so jokes.
Yeah, well, I thought, obviously, that spiritually, it's not a good idea to just, like, preach my spirituality through a business yet.
I was going to say.
It was a test.
And how did the test go?
Yeah. Oh, God, that's funny.
So what is the plan with... is it totes and teas?
Teas and totes.
Teas and totes.
Teas and totes. Doesn't it
Teas
roll
and
off
totes.
the tongue?
Totes and teas. I might have gone with totes and teas. Or am I just being
Don't tell me
difficult
that
now?
I thought teas and totes sounds quite nice.
Fuck, my bad, Sophie. Anyways, what's the plan with it? Because you're doing a little release soon, aren't you? I think.
Yeah. So Easter Sunday, I thought.
Cool.
Do a little drop because it's the best. I don't know. I was thinking like it'd be a good day for it. So.
And there's no turkey prints on it.
And there's no turkey prints. There's no turkey prints on it. It's so I've basically naturally like dyeing these bags with blackberries.
Cool.
So like using the dye basically because it forms a natural. Once you boil it, it forms a natural dye. So basically, for these batch I've dyed the bag so it's come like a nice like purple colour. And then I've also like not naturally tie-dyed, like did a random like tie-dye effect on it.
Cool.
And to be fair, I've never tie-dyed before, but I just winged it.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. And it's come out quite nicely because all of them are like unique and like completely different. So each design is just like, it's just
That's so sick.
Yeah, so I've got like a small batch at the minute.
Cool.
But see where it goes.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it.
So that comes out Sunday. This Sunday.
Sunday.
Cool.
Yeah.
So everyone listening or watching, make sure you go check out and grab yourself a tote bag. I've already seen a picture of them, so
thank you.
They do look sick. But you've got quite an interesting fashion. Would I be wrong in sort of assuming that?
Interesting fashion. Yeah, it is. You're right.
Because there seems to be quite a correlation between your artwork and then sort of t-shirts and sort of fashion elements as well, if that makes sense. Not necessarily your photography, but you as a creative.
Yeah, I mean, again, from college, because I was doing like art and design and like, I was like, oh my God, because after school I was like, this is absolutely incredible, like I love this, like in an art college, like woo. So I got really, I guess I was like dressing up, but like in college that's when I tried to like develop more of like my fashion. And I wouldn't say like I'm into like fashion as in like the runways and stuff.
No,
but like,
of course.
Just,
but in touch with what you like as an individual.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's very much about like the feeling and like the colours and just like, I mean, I don't know if I'd wear like ice cream earrings, but I used to wear ice cream earrings at college.
Survive.
I was just like,
in the early
back at
2010s.
Like, okay, babes. You really thought you were cool there, but I don't think we're gonna go there anymore. But,
I don't know. I reckon you could rock ice cream earrings. Maybe you should sell them through totes and teas and totes.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion. So, to everyone who's listening or watching this podcast, where can they find your work?
So, through my Instagram page,
Cool.
Stagg Photography.
Cool.
Stagg Photography. And then through that, well, with the teas and totes, it's just underscore teas underscore totes underscore.
Awesome. I'll make sure I link them all in the description below this podcast. So, I appreciate you coming on, Sophie. It was good fun.
Thank you for having me.
No, of course. We had planned to do this at some point, and it was like, it worked kind of perfectly because you were in the local area. So I was like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast?
Yeah, why not? Spontaneous.
100%. How did you find your first podcast?
Not bad at all.
No?
No, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, what am I doing? But yeah.
It's under the bright lights and glitz and glam.
Got my makeup on today, so it's fine.
So do I. I got a bit nudge. I feel like I need them with these bags under my eyes. Cool. Yeah, guys. So make sure you go check out Sophie's work, her photography, her artwork, and Tees and Totes. No. Yeah? No?
Tees and Totes.
Fucking nailed it. Yes. Make sure you check out Tees and Totes as well this Sunday to get your hands on a limited edition, small run, eco-friendly
limited edition
tote bag. And as I say at the end of every podcast, be safe out there. The world is rather crazy, especially with us psychopaths running around with cameras. And take care, look after your family, and make love and peace. Can't speak. Bye, guys.